Sim Racing Dan here with ISRA League's Grand Touring Championship. This is Season 4 of the GTC and Round 3 here at Mid-Ohio. The pace lap is just about to come to a close. Pace car is going to go into the pits and we will be off. Here I qualified in 13th position. Once again, not making such a good qualifying run, but as usual, running my race pace about the same as my qualifying pace. All right, the pace car is in, and it's green flag, green flag. And Eric and I think who is that? Frank got together, I believe it was, and caused a bit of a spin there, so I got a little bit behind the field. And you can see that's Gilles there trying to spin himself around and get himself faced the right direction. He got collected in that. And here through turn 1, I'm behind the 9th position car, John Risudos, and he must have gotten at least disturbed by that incident because he's got the 10th and the 12th position cars ahead of him. Into the brake zone. I'm still right foot braking for this race. I've taken up left foot braking at the suggestion of many people, but here you can see I'm getting some left foot braking in when I know I don't have to downshift. So I'm trying to do the left foot braking, and won't get to see that for round 5 since I won't be, round 4, since I won't be doing a video of that. It was a bit of a disaster of a race. Got taken out a bit, but we won't go into that too much. We'll stick here at Mid-Ohio, where I'm still right foot braking and heading down into the front straight again. And let's see where that mess at turn 1 puts me. Looks like I'm only up into 12th position, which is a bit of a surprise to me, but somehow I guess most people got out of that unscathed. You can see, even with the slowness of the V8 of the beginning of the race, with everyone just following one another, the V8s are already quite a bit behind the Corvettes here. Coming up right close on John Risudos now. One thing I noticed here, and it's going to come into play a little later in the race, is that when I'm right foot braking here, and John goes a little bit off to the right, puts him in a little bit slow, and we go side by side through the right-hander and again through the left-hander, but I'm able to get round because I had just a better position in that very hilly, dangerous section of track. Very easy to spin there, and get around John right there. So as I was saying, when I'm right foot braking here, I'm hitting the gas pedal a lot. You can see again I'm putting some left foot in. And that gas pedal, that little bit of extra throttle that I'm adding into the braking zone is extending my braking zones in some cases quite a bit and throwing me off. So we'll see that come into play here. After coming off that lousy Laguna Seca showing, and I go a little bit hard into the braking zone, and I thought John was going to have me on the inside, but he was a little bit too hot coming through, and ended up running into the side of me. Didn't put me off that much, but it definitely set John back a little bit. No damage, that was just a gentle paint scrape there. And I put a little bit of too much throttle in, going over the hill where that suspension is unloaded, and almost spun it, but didn't quite. Also didn't lose the position to John, who's still 2.5 seconds behind me. And here at the beginning of the race, I'm thinking back to Laguna Seca, saying I can't do that again. I can't have that race again. And oh no, I just go ahead and screw up again. Saving it once again, but it's just not fast. You can see the rest of the field. Matthew Schumacher, 9 seconds ahead of me. We're on lap, now on lap 3. Oh, sorry, now on lap 4. knew Mid-Ohio was going to be a dangerous track, a track where there'd be lots of incidents. And here I'm locking up. Oh man, I'm locking up terribly. I go wide, and there again I'll have to. I wasn't looking at the throttle at the time, but I bet I had a little bit of foot on the throttle, pushing me that little bit extra into the braking zone. Following John now here, once he was easily able to make the pass off that mistake. Get a good exit over the hill. Nicely rotated by the time I've crested. And braking a little bit late there. Smoking just a little bit, but not too much. And John looks like he had some trouble there, maybe just smoking, but he definitely lost some time, I think. There's a statement, he definitely lost some time, I think. And looks like Alex is in the pits. That's not going to do me any good. Eric Palazzo is also in the pits. That will do me some good, although it looks like he was way behind me, so that he was involved in that nasty spinning at the beginning of the race, the incident at the beginning, so that pushed him obviously far behind, and he must have had some damage there, or was actually more likely serving a black flag. Here I've been able to pull up to just within a second of John. Again, the rest of the field, though, 12 seconds ahead of me. That's all right though, because you know, I don't race these guys here to win. As I was saying in the ISRA forums, David Serrois is dominating. He's alien fast, and he does not make mistakes. He is a great driver, and unless he gets a disconnection like he did at round 1 at Spa, he is going to finish first. There's really no one quite fast enough to challenge him. Second through, well, the rest of the lineup is up for grabs, and based on you know, how people may or may not screw their own races up, I do have an opportunity perhaps to climb up to second someday. My best finish so far this season being 4th, that was at Spa. John pulled away from me and extended his lead from 1 second to 2.3 now, 2.1. But as I was saying, I'm not in it to win. I'd love to be, but I know I just don't have the speed with this type of a competitive field. Instead, I'm here to have the great battles, and I think John and I are pretty well set up on speed to have a great battle here. Looks like Don Norris went off and recovered here. Let's see if I'm able to get around him. No, I decided it's not going to happen. Don gives me the opportunity, though. Thank you, Don. Didn't want to stick my nose in where it didn't belong there. And it looks like it's alright because John got slowed down by Sean Jury up ahead. Sean into the left-hander, the actual turn 1. What I call the turn 1 incident was prior to the start-finish, really. Yeah, smoking it once again, braking into the right-hander turn 2. That's a turn that I've never gotten right, no matter what the car. I always seem to take a lousy line where people are able to pass me on the inside at speeds that I just don't think I can maintain. And here, oh, okay, well, I was watching there and it looked like my foot was fully on the brake. It was just one of those surprises that this Corvette's been giving me, where I don't know what happened. I felt like I braked at an appropriate time, and I guess maybe I pushed too hard, locked up a little, and that definitely would have extended my braking zone quite a bit. John, though, getting caught up behind Lance Snyder. So I, once again, haven't lost too much time, despite the many mistakes. And I haven't lost much time to the rest of the field. Luke looks like he must have had a mistake. Oh, no, sorry, that is Eric's time ticking down, who's still in the pits. He must have taken damage, must be getting repaired now. I am smoking that tire. Something awful. Well, I've set my pit strategy here so that about midway I will take fuel and tires. There we go. Braking into that right-hander just fine. Braking into the left-hander crest and then on the gas. Not shifting onto the brakes. And into third gear, fourth gear, and back onto the brakes. I should be onto the brakes, but I am not. Actually, you know what? That worked out all right. Later on in the race, I felt as though I had to get on the brakes quite early on that right-hander sweep. Just a little bit of throttle, a little bit of brake, playing with trying to find that turning ability. And Karl Mumbauer in the late model up ahead of me. Just like with Lance, though, I'll get by no problem on the straight. Good. Didn't walk up there. And down the second straight, the back straight here, trying to get past Jerry and Mike Taylor. Let's see if it's going to be possible. I get past Jerry just fine, but not Mike, and so I'm going to be following him around the very important twisty section in the back stretch of the course. This is not where you want to get caught behind a slower car, even though it may not seem it. The Corvette turns much faster than the V8s and the late models, and I thought I might have an opportunity right there to get by. Didn't happen, but here it is. And let's see if you can see how I'm just ticking off the tenths on Mike Taylor there. Not because he's a bad driver, but just because the Corvette is quite a bit faster through the turns. And here's John Middleton and Marty. John going for the pass on the inside, goes a little bit wide on the track. They don't give me room in a space that is wide enough for 3 cars. So I take it to the turn. And we go too wide, safely through. I know John Middleton's a good driver. I can trust him on the inside of the turn like that. And nothing to do. It's all about the slow traffic right here. I got a little bit impatient due to that last straight, so I looked for an opportunity to get past Ryan Huff, found it there. Coming up on Brent as we get down to the front straight. Perfect place to pass him. And let's see how I'm doing navigating traffic. It looks like I'm 5 seconds behind John Rasutos, so I'm definitely not doing as good a job as he is. And it appears as though we are just coming up on the V8 traffic now, as Donald Mines is ahead of John, and that may play into my advantage, as it looks like John is not getting by and is going to get a little bit held up there. Of course, we've got Julio in front of me, and that's going to hold me up a little bit, but let's see how it plays out, and if I'm able to take advantage of this opportunity. Taking it easy behind Julio, and not forcing it there, not forcing it through the right-hander, but here I better go forward if I know what I'm doing, and here I go. And John looks like he got past Donald at about the same pace, so probably not a whole lot of benefit to me there, maybe even a little bit of detriment as I was behind a slower late model. Though I have to say, late models versus V8s, I'm not sure that there's any difference in the turns. Those V8s are kind of piggy. And we have Alex ahead of Donald. Donald's going to be looking for the pass on the straight. And I take to the right-hand side of the track. I get past Alex. Looks like Donald's looking for it. He's just barely finding it. But he does get past Alex. Holding steady here at 5.5 seconds behind John Mercedes. The trick here is just to find that opportunity or hope for him to make that mistake so that I'm able to catch up and we can have a nice battle here. Ooh, I went a little bit wide on that. And I kept it in fourth this time. That was proper. I was adjusting my driving a little bit as the race went on, and figured out finally that fourth gear was where I wanted to be for turn 1. Down into second for turn 2 here on lap 13 of this 60-minute race. Or is it 65? Let's see. It doesn't tell me the total time there, but we have 47 minutes remaining in the race at the moment, 47.5 minutes. One of the nice things about being in the fastest class of cars is I can leave that board up for a while, and I don't have to worry about anyone coming up right behind me unexpectedly. Fortunately, I can't tell you who this is who I'm about to pass in the 12 car. Looks like someone's gone off, though. Andre Michaud has gone off, and that was Don Norris. I was passing apparently for a second time. So get a pass off on Andre, who must have made a very big mistake, because I didn't see him anywhere in the F3 screen until just now. So that probably cost him 15 seconds right there. John, though, unfortunately, has pulled 7 seconds away from me, so the battle there is looking less and less likely. But that's okay, because I've got one right behind me, since Andre is certainly faster than I am. Let's see how long I can hold him off. Can I force him to make a mistake? I'm not really nervous here, or I don't feel the pressure having him behind me, because I know he's faster. And I won't be at all surprised if he does pull that pass off on me. Ooh, I go wide! Once again, that time I started braking a little bit late, I have to say. Chuck Chambliss behind me, coming up. Oh, but he's 7 seconds behind me, so that's not going to do him any good. He's not going to get by. Definitely hit that braking zone at the end of the straight too late, and there's the result. I went off, and John Mercedes is now 10 seconds ahead of me. And the faster Andre is 3.5, 4 seconds ahead, so I've been keeping well ahead of Chuck, so hopefully I can open up that gap, but looks like I'll be doing a couple laps on my own. You can see here on the straight, Jim Moreira is ahead of me, but he is just almost as fast as I am in his V8 on the straights as the Corvette here is, which means that the Corvette's making up all its time in two places. So it's braking and cornering. And I have to say, I'm quite surprised by always when I come up on the back of a V8 in a turn, by how slowly they're turning. I have to say, though, I kind of wish I had driven the V8 this season. It's the most challenging car of the three by far, for sure. But, you know, I haven't been in the middle car yet. I've been in the fastest twice. I've been in the slowest. And it's time that I take the middle one. Though I don't know if I'm going to get the opportunity next time. See here, Dan wants to get by Lance, so do I. But I just wasn't able to give him enough room there, unfortunately, so he'll have to wait for the straight here. So I don't think I'm going to have an opportunity to be in the middle car, because next season, if all goes well with iRacing, we will be in the LMP2, the Corvette, and the Ford GT. Of those three, I have to say, it's a very hard choice. I'd love to drive all of them, but since I'm driving the Corvette right now, I think it'd be more interesting to take on a new car next season, though I certainly wouldn't complain about driving the Corvette. But of those two, I'm guessing I'm going to go with the Ford GT. I've been looking forward to a nice mid-engine sports car, and finally we have it. Let's see who's off here and what it's going to mean. Nothing, because they stay nicely off the track, though I expected to get by Sean there on the straight. Fortunately, it lets me by on the outside there. Pitting in now. Not quite when I expected to, but I'm well within the fuel window, and I figured that I've worn the tires out quite a bit, so it's time for me to head to the pits. And the car goes up. I suspect the LMP2 car is going to be quite a handful. Probably an awful lot like the Radical. It's going to be a fairly fragile car. Maybe a source of some frustration. But we'll see. I'll try them all and I'll see what I like. And pitting out here now, just ahead of Don Hunter, and I'm letting him by on the straight. Not that I have a whole lot of choice, but I could have made life harder for him. No sense in it, though. And he is in the second position. David Sirwa already passed me. Of course, none of these guys have served their pit time, so wow, look at that, down to 66% on the front right. That was a good time to pit, for sure. In the back of Don Mine's Red Bull, and I've got Mike Kelly right behind me looking for the opportunity to lap me. And I said, oh, I thought I had it past Donald, but he got a little squirrely, and that almost ended up in an incident. Unfortunately, where I could have potentially done something to help Mike out there, I just had to take it and be selfish and see what I could get. And I tell Mike to go left, but you know what? I got too much of a lead on him down that straight. So here's where Mike is going to make his pass on me. Tuck in behind him, try to get some drafting off the long straightaway. Thought I had a good exit, gassed it a little bit too early and went a little bit wide. Taking that curb on the right a little bit hard, but I didn't unsettle the car too badly. And Thomas Stockman now coming up to 1.5 seconds behind me, getting the blue flag, but he is way too far away to let him go quite yet, so let's see if he can catch up. We all know he can. Mike Kelly getting caught up behind some V8 and late model traffic there. And going wide around them, that was a bit of a messy job again. There, track position-wise, unfortunately, who was that? Again, it looks like he went a little bit too wide passing Lance. And I let Thomas by there, having gotten a little off due to the excitement out of me. And I think probably I could have had it in the braking zone, but there was no sense in pushing it. There, that's an example right there of how I'm always sort of taken off guard at just how slowly the V8s wind around the corners. I'm able to get around getting in the right hander, which is unusual there, so he must have had a little bit of trouble. Actually, since it's the V8 and they burn their tires off pretty fast, he's probably starting to feel the loss of traction and thinking about making a pit stop himself. Now, since I did make that early pit stop, key thing on my mind is going to be not to lock it up, to keep these tires safe and good. Especially if you can imagine the new tire model as they've described it. If you haven't seen the article, check it out at iRacing.com. And so the new tire model is especially going to punish locking up, and so I'm going to have to be very attentive to not doing that in future races once the new tire model is released. But I'm looking forward to that because even though I'm sure that it won't make me any more competitive compared to the aliens are fast for a reason, it's going to make me feel a whole lot better about why the aliens are faster. Corvette in this V8 has so much low-end torque that a lot of the time I'm taking it very low gear that you might not expect, but it's got the pull. There again. Man, those V8s are so slow around the turns. And trying to sneak past RC Vegas, am I going to do it? Yep, I did it probably because of their braking and their cornering speeds. Nice paint job there, RC. I like that. And Don Norris letting me by on the right hand there. Looks like I have Dan Morera coming up ahead of me again. Dan was intending to let me by there. Nice left-hander, kept it almost at 100 through the entrance, but crusted 100 very quickly after the apex. Braking now here behind Ryan Huff. And I've got Thomas Stockman 4 seconds ahead of me. I wasn't paying attention to see how that's been maintained. I would have expected to be quite a bit behind him at this point. I've got Jerry Knitter ahead of me. Announce I'm going right, and I go right. Let's watch the time between Stefan Miller here and John Middleton. Oh, no good, because John Middleton's going into the pits, so that's not going to tell us much of anything. Looking around on the inside onto the front straight, past Stefan Miller. Got Matthew Voigt ahead of me. Let's see if I can get by him. It's not going to happen, I can tell you that right now. In his Stars and Stripes NASA car. But he leaves me by on the right-hander, and I take it eagerly. Dust up there. Take it a little bit easy over the crust. Looks like Thomas was involved in something that set him back quite a bit. Marty probably also involved, as he's right in front of Thomas. I can't believe that is an accident. Well, I can believe it happened because of an accident. And once again, I travel down the straight, hoping to get some nice drafting off of Thomas. Looks like he's pulling away a bit, though. Still, I'm within drafting range, so I should be getting some benefit here. Almost spin it there, applying the power pretty early, but managed to keep it under control. Alex, not realizing that I'm a lap down off Thomas, so lets me by. I think he may have, yeah, he was headed into the pits anyway, so it wouldn't have really benefited him to hold me up anyway. Checking the timing now, we have a half hour left in the race. And I'm not Canadian, even though it may have just sounded like it. David Sirois taking the spot behind me here about 7 seconds back. That must have been due to him inserting his pit. And following his stop, he will pass me inshore, shore. Middle of the race here, and just sort of doing some laps, although Andre Machad comes out of the pits right ahead of me. Hey, we have some competition once again, because Andre is on the same lap as I am. The problem is, if I recall correctly, he was also faster than I am. I jumped past Don Norris there on the right-hander because I all of a sudden get kind of excited. Hey, I've got something to race for once again. John Rosito is 7.5 seconds ahead of me, so he must have pitted as well. Makes sense, it's mid-race now. Well, I have the advantage here that I haven't abused my second set of tires, and mine are nice and warm, so I should have some better grip than everyone else who's just pitted. And it looks like that is playing out here as I come right on the back of Andre's tail here. Whoa, I almost lost it right there. Got a little bit too excited and opened a small gap in front of me. Let's see if I can keep those turning tires turning. Alright, I've still got it within 1 second of Andre here. Lots of people pitting right now. Looks like a lot of hitters in the P8 class. Oh, I almost lost her right there, going into the dirt, and back end just waggled around. That's put Andre Machad now 1.5 seconds ahead of me. That's not going to help me catch up with him at all. You know, when I listen to this, of course, I hear the squeaking of the actuators on my seat, but I also hear myself taking these sharp, gasping inhalations of breath quite frequently, just about over every turn. It's important to loosen up. I shouldn't be as tense as I am. The problem is, being tense makes it somewhat more fun. Feeling like you're really driving by the edge of your seat here. Andre definitely looks like he'll get caught up in some slower traffic here. He got past John Middleton, but Sean Jury probably will slow him down a little bit as he has to take a suboptimal exit to that turn. And let's see, I'm able to get by there, but it's not going to catch me up nearly as well as I'd hoped. I'm trying to duck in and catch whatever draft I can catch. Meanwhile, David Sirois has closed the distance between us, and I go for the outside here around Brent and keep it going down through to the right-hander. Also closing the distance slightly between myself and John Rosito, which is great considering the mistakes I've made here. Just 6.4 seconds. Oh, it's rising up, but just hitting 7. This one just about half a second behind me, and so it's about time that I let him by. And there Andre goes on the inside. No trouble there. And I pick him up for some drafting, but man, look, he's just taken off. I think he's got some nitrous in that car. That's why he's so fast. So right now, it looks like the running order is Thomas Stockman first, though I don't think he's served his pit stop yet. And David Sawa second. Don Hunter's in third position at the moment. And Don Hunter being that far back probably has served his pit time. Big mess up ahead on the front straight. Looks like a bunch of Corvettes went on the inside, and almost catching up RC here, RC Vargas in his V8. I go inside and just able to pull through to the braking zone. Felt like, ooh, I might have had that a little bit hot, but I kept it together. And here again, I'm smoking the insides, and I managed to keep myself just on the track. But that type of tire abuse is not ideal here, with so much of the race still left to go. Andre Machad now, 3 seconds ahead of me. Man, it's a pretty steady gap he's been opening. Man, what a gaggle of Corvettes right there. But John Rasudos, looks like he's within reach here at 2.5 seconds. I don't know what happened to him. He must have had some trouble. That's kind of exciting for me as I head down the back straight. John and Andre now are going to fight for position, and that's just fine by me. Let's see if they can slow each other up a little bit. So everyone's getting past Don Norris there. And I hope that I can include myself in that crowd, because I'm racing. I've got 2 guys on my own lap, just a couple seconds ahead of me. And they're weaving through traffic. Sean Drury ahead of me, I go right. And John looks like he's smoking his tires going through the left-hander, and gives up the passage to Andre. Getting on the gas nice and early. John obviously with that damage to his front right. I'm not sure how that's affected him this race. Oh, that was a very late break. But it worked. But John goes a little bit wide and slow, and that's enough for me to make the pass. My sight's set on Andre now. He's only 2 seconds ahead of me, having to make a little bit of concession to get past John. And behind Jerry Hitter now, going into the long right-hander that leads onto the front straight. There we go, getting a pass, or not really a pass, getting by him on the inside. John makes it by 2. And sticks right to my tail. Little touch of dust, but it's not enough for John to make a move. Man, he's just half a second or less behind me. Some good close racing here. Into the braking zone. Down. 3, 2. Turn in. Get on the gas briefly. Then onto the brakes. Ride a little bit just with some neutral throttle over the crest. A little bit of brake there to make sure I can turn in all right. And onto the brakes for the right-hander. Downshift in the third. Second, I screwed that one up a little bit then. Right down into third for the left-hander. Braking once again to come around for the last turn onto the front straight. And gun it, gun it, gun it. Tom and mine's getting a little squirrely under acceleration there onto the front straight. He's braking, I'm braking. And you know I'm going to get past Tom and mine's here and hope that John won't be able to, but of course he will. What's going to happen here with Ryan Huff though? I get caught behind Ryan Huff, and that's going to slow me down. Let's hope that the tighter exit there doesn't work against me. And that John wasn't able to get better exit speed. It doesn't look like he was. Good. Back into the braking zone, down the back straight. Down into second, turn in, and up here behind Evgeny. Hoping to get by, but there's nowhere to do it. Oh, and he lets us by. Thank you, Evgeny. But as he's doing that, Don Hunter is coming up behind us. Well, he'll just have to be a little bit patient because we've got a fight on our hands. John taking a little bit sideways there. Marty went off, and I was still going to go right. I almost slammed right into him, but fortunately was able to avoid him. And here's a pair of late models that I can get by. Get into the braking. John goes for a narrow line there and gets through just fine. And here back behind Ben Morera, and let's see, not going to get by. Yes, I am. I said, you know what? That's worth doing, but that was totally not worth doing. What a mistake that was. Locked it up, got sideways. Fortunately, didn't take anyone out on the other side of the turn, and also didn't get any black flags for cutting the course. I guess they figured, iRacing figured correctly that that was not the fastest way through there. But fortunately was able to defend against John, not really as much on purpose as much as that's just where the car took me, as I tried to right it and keep it going the right way. Don Hunter now right behind us. He'll be looking for an opportunity to get by, but even though may be somewhat frustrating for him to ride behind us, it's got to be a heck of a lot better than riding behind the V8s and late models. So hang in there, Don. He is in the second position at the moment. And he's showing great patience. He was very patient throughout this whole race. It's a tight track, and you've got a battle going on. Of course, right now, John has to let Don by before I have to worry about him. So as long as John keeps him behind himself, I don't have to think too much about Don. Okay, going for a safer braking into the right-hander turn 2 there. Looks like some smoke picked up from Jeremy Lewis. And Brent ahead of me in the late model as we enter the braking zone. Wasn't sure what he was going to let me get away with. He does let me get away with getting by him. And I get a little bit off, get a little bit sideways. Man, what great work on the part of John and Don. That was a mistake that should have cost me the place, but fortunately those two guys were nice and heads up and got onto the brakes, and I guess they really couldn't predict which way I was going to end up going. Don now, though, past John due to my little slip up there. I'm trying not to crack under pressure. Trying to look for a good place to let Don by without also letting John by. Front straight's not the place. One of my favorite places to let people by is right here, because I always feel like I'm pretty slow on that turn, but with Jeremy Burrs right ahead of me and taking up, rightfully so, his whole piece of the track. No opportunity there. I decided to go 3 wide. I didn't call it out. Going right next to Jeremy. He gets a little bit too close. There's car contact. Jeremy goes off into the wall, and Don goes by on the right. Sorry about that, Jeremy. I called it in. I thought I'd screwed up there, but it's just one of those racing incidents. And something's definitely wrong with Don Norris's car there that is going that slow. The reason for that 3 wide there once again was that I just couldn't afford to give up any time to let Don by, simply because John is right on my tail, and it takes a very precise ability to let someone by, who's half a second behind you, but not the guy who's 1 second behind you. That's why you'll find in ALMS, they don't really have any policies about letting the slower classes by, or lap traffic. It's all just based on what you can do as a driver yourself. Can you get by? Alright, fine, then you can get by. But nobody's necessarily going to let you by. Mike Kelly now on the heels of John right behind me. Mike Kelly currently in the 3rd position. James Mines letting me by there in his Red Bull V8. Red Bull Ford Falcon is really more appropriate. It's a real pity that Holden decided not to participate in iRacing. I would have loved to have played out the Ford versus Holden rivalry here in the 2 V8 cars, V8 makes. To some extent, I can understand why they didn't do it. After all, if one car, it risks that your car is a slower one in the simulation, and people think that your car is inferior, when in fact it's just something that's wrong with the simulated version that makes it that way. Whoa, getting real sideways. But John, way behind me now, 3 seconds behind me. I don't know where he lost that time. He's obviously behind Daniel Gralti now, but I think he lost it somewhere else. I think he must have had an off of some sort. At any rate, I think it still would have been worth it on the part of Holden. After all, the real V8 Supercar series proves that the two makers are definitely good competitors. And it'd be great to have a multi-make class here in iRacing. Still waiting for that day. Watching FIA GT3 cars run their races and looking at how good it looks to have, BMW running with a Mercedes, running with a Lamborghini. I think they have some Jags in there too, and definitely Ferraris. Lap 40 now, with the laps taking a minute 21 apiece. That means that we must be coming fairly close to the end of the race. I think this one was a 65-minute, if I recall correctly. Here I am in 11th position as I head down. Yep, we have, oops, I missed that. I think it was about 8 minutes left in the race. Oh, there's a heck of a dust cloud ahead of me. Not really that helpful though, because it was Don Hunter who looks like having the trouble, and he's a lap ahead of me. Always got to keep pushing and hope that someone else messes up and rewards you, because those 10 seconds that you get for pushing hard could be the 10 seconds that someone else loses. Here, I've got Andre 16.7 seconds ahead of me. Well, 16.7 seconds is good. Spin off the track, facing the wrong direction, and getting yourself back on the track. That can easily cost 16 seconds, so it's definitely worth it to try to keep up with him. Don Norris once again way off pace. Not entirely sure he should still be on the track at that pace, but I guess he's keeping it fairly safe and letting people by. Up 2 positions from where I started here. I'm starting to hope that the race is going to end soon. Not getting too many points for 11th, but you take what you can get. John Arsudas now falling back to about 8 seconds behind me, which is definitely going to put him out of the running unless I make some massive mistake like the one I described, the one I was wishing on to Andre. And here we are, it looks like about 5.5. Oh, okay, so pit's closed. That means that we must be at about, 4 minutes left? see, there's Don Norris going off into the grass. John Kuzlin ahead of me by 8 seconds. Wait, 4 seconds, 3 seconds. He has spun, he's had a problem. He's getting back onto the track. In fact, there was an incident with a another car, I think it was with Don Hunter, and that has given him a black flag. Text running across the top of my screen, even though you haven't seen it, although maybe it hasn't happened quite yet. And that puts John Kuzlin 1.3 seconds behind me on the same lap as me. I haven't seen him all race, so he was definitely faster than I was, but obviously did something to get himself lapped. And with just a couple minutes left, let's see if I can keep him behind me. Once again, just like Andre, it's a case where I know there's the faster driver behind me. Here it matters though. Here I feel the pressure because unlike with Andre, where I knew that eventually he was going to be able to get by no matter what I did, we have little enough left in the race for me to be able to potentially hold him off and keep that spot, keep that 10th position that I'm about to get clicked up on right there. Trick here is that John has a black flag hanging over his head. He's pushing to pass me here, I think hoping that he's able to finish the race without having served that black flag, since you do have several laps to serve it. Procedurally, I think that would get him disqualified, but I've never put it to the test myself. 3 minutes left now in the race. 3 minutes. And here's where, as I said, that pushing paid off, you know, keeping it going and treating it like I had someone right ahead of me made sense, because right there I just slipped by John on that, oops, and that was, who was that, Chris Carroll going off. I just slipped by John on the second straight, and if I'd been just like 1 second behind where I was, I might not have made that pass. Got Brent ahead of me in his whoop-ass car. And now there's no question that John is right behind me. The question is, will he find a passing opportunity at this very tight, very technical track? I'm checking the time again, trying to see when that white flag is going to run. I had to lift just a tiny bit. Not the greatest exit in the world. Let's see if I'm going to pay for it. We are side by side going to the braking zone, and I'm not going to give it to him, but he is going to try to take it, and he takes it. Though he almost sends himself running into RC Vigus, but he does a good job to avoid that. RC very graciously lets us by. John here, probably hoping that the white flag was already going to be flying, has been out for, 2 or 3 laps under the black flag. So in John goes. No, not this lap. Still hoping for the white flag. Not getting it this lap. Quick time check. I wasn't looking quickly enough to see what it read. Sean letting me through on the inside. Second behind John. John doing something very strange there. I think he thought he had to go inside past Dan, but he was too far behind for that. He's definitely looking for that way past. Dan gives it to him. Dan gives it also to me. Thank you, Dan. And Andre Michaud, just 6 seconds ahead of us. So I think that probably Andre had some trouble because, as I recall, he was 16 seconds ahead of me last time I looked. And John Kuzland, the white flag flies, but John probably got a radio message from his engineer telling him he had to hit this lap. And so into the pits he goes, and that will give me the 10th position back. Just 1.5 seconds behind Andre. Something is off pace with Andre. He almost runs me off the track, but gets back into it. And he actually exits off into the grass. He must have taken some terrible damage that he wasn't able to finish the race. Just with 1 lap to go, that has got to be painful for him. That is going to give me the 9th position. So there you have it. Stick it out to the end. You never know what's going to happen. You can get frustrated running the laps alone, feeling like you are at the back of the pack, but even though I didn't climb myself up too high, I was able to climb my way up 2 positions right in the last lap. And I'm not in too much of a hurry to get past Evgeny, so let him go ahead of me. Thomas Stockman's 1.7 seconds behind me, but that's of no use when it comes to the passing here. He's right behind me now, but the finishing order is locked in at this point. 9th place finish there for me. And a messy, but much better than the Gudaseka race right there. Now, as I said, you won't be seeing my recap of the Road America Enduro since I had a bit of an incident that took